that you're literally set up on a stack of books, and I'm scared you're gonna fall, but let's pray it doesn't, because, well, this is a bit of a dangerous situation, but hopefully it'll be fine, because the angle is, I think, good. So yeah. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing another exciting book video, because a couple of weeks ago I did a video with my summer TBR, but now I'm actually gonna do summer book recommendations. So the ones that I already read and I'm gonna recommend to you, so you can add them to your summer TBR, so you can have the best reading experience. So yeah, I prepared list. I think there's like 20 on it, so I don't know, grab a drink, grab a snack, because we're gonna be here for a while. Yeah, let's do it. First, I have a couple books from one of my favorite authors ever, which is Emily Henry. As you can see, I read quite a bit by her, and honestly, they're all very summery, and I'm gonna recommend all of them. I'm gonna go through them real quick because, well, there's a bunch, and I genuinely recommend all of them. So we have People We Meet on Vacation, which is basically like friends to lovers. It's slow burn, they go on vacation together, and we have this kind of will they one day situation. So yeah, it's very fun. It was very nice to like see them going on vacation together and like all that, and also there was a only one bed scene, so yeah, I definitely recommend it. Then we have Beach Read, which is my personal favorite. This is basically about two writers who are dealing with writer's block, and basically for the summer they decide to switch genres that they write to kind of help get each other out of the writer's block. It's also small town, it's like academic rivals to lovers slash maybe enemies kind of, and also they go on like these little dates to help each other, like they get inspiration and kind of experiences that will help them write the books. So yeah, we also have Book Lovers, and this is enemies slash like workplace rivals to lovers, and basically Nora, she goes to this small town with her sister on like a trip, and there she runs into Charlie, who is her rival, as I said. So yeah, we also have small town vibes, which I love the setting, and also I love like the themes of sisterhood, because you know, she went there with her sister, and then they're kind of dealing with something like between them as well. That was very cool. Then we have Funny Story, which is probably my second favorite. This is fake dating, roommates to lovers, because basically they both get left by their exes, and Daphne has nowhere to stay, so she becomes roommates with Miles. Yeah, we have fake dating, as I said. He shows her around the town, which was very cool. Also, like, she's a librarian, he works in this like winery, so yeah, it's very cool, and I did really relate to Daphne, so that was fun. Then we have Happy Place, which, oh my goodness, I love it. So it's a second chance romance. It's fake dating, so basically Harriet and Wynne broke up like some time ago, but they didn't tell their friends, and now they have to go on this like annual friends vacation, and so they have to pretend to still be dating so they don't ruin the vacation and cause any drama. And yeah, we also have First Proximity, because they're together in this like vacation home, so it has also many good quotes, which I loved, and the themes of friendship, which I also really loved, and like growing up and stuff. So yeah, now we have Great Big Beautiful Life, which is actually her newest release, and it's either this one or Happy Place is my third favorite. This is more like fiction-y. Alice and Hayden are both up for a job to basically write a biography of Margaret, who was like a very big star back in the day, but then she just disappeared, and now she's looking for a person to write her story, so they're kind of competing for that job, and they have this like a month trial where Margaret is telling both of them her story, and at the end of the month she will decide who gets to write it. So yeah, it's more like fiction-y and about Margaret's story, so romance is kind of more of a subplot, but I did really enjoy it. Like, I liked the romance, but also I did like the story of Margaret, although at the beginning it was kind of slow a little bit, because it starts with the history of her great-grandfather, I guess. But yeah, I did overall enjoy it, and there was like a reveal at the end, which was very fun. So yeah, I definitely do recommend, and it is very summery. They are on this like small town, or was it an island? It might have been an island, but I don't know, don't quote me on that. Yeah, it was very good. Now moving on, we have Archer's Voice, which is more of an emotional read, but I still think is great for the summer. So basically Bree moves into this small town to kind of escape her old life, because a lot of traumatic things happen to her, and she wants to kind of get away from that. And so she goes into this small town, and like the first day she's here, she runs into Archer, who is basically like this town reject. Like, nobody really talks to him, and like they just rejected him and think he's kind of like a weirdo. Bree is intrigued by him and kind of wants to get to know him and see what's going on behind the mask. So yeah, also Archer is mute, so they communicate with sign language, which was just very sweet, and they have this like like the sweetest friends to lovers situations. Like they're so sweet. Like Archer is such a cinnamon roll. He is so wholesome, and I also loved Bree. And the setting, yeah, I loved the small town. It was like by the lake, which was very fun. She was staying in this like cottage, and she had this lady who was her neighbor who was also very cute. And also, I'm gonna read you a quote to convince you, okay, to read it. Are you ready? Because this is the cutest quote ever. "I didn't know enough to dream you, Bree, but somehow you came true anyway. How did that happen?" Archer, oh my god, I love him so much. Like, he is my book husband, so yeah, please read it. But maybe check trigger warnings, because it is more heavy. Like, with both of their traumas, it is really emotional and heavy. So yeah, but it is very good and very sweet as well. So every now and then I fall apart, and I need you now tonight. Need you more than ever. Okay, now we have One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and this is not your usual romance. So basically it's about Emma, and she had a husband back in the day who was her high school sweetheart, and one day unfortunately the husband gets into a helicopter crash and goes missing. And then years later Emma runs into, I think, her old friend, and they eventually get engaged, and this is kind of like her second chance at happiness, right? And then one time when I think they're at the dinner, and that's how it starts, it's not a spoiler, but she gets a call that the husband is actually alive and has been trying to find her all these years and come back to her. And so basically now she has this dilemma, like if she goes back to the old husband, if she stays in this engagement with the new guy. And there's this theme of if you ever have one true love in your lifetime, if you have more than that, everything about that. I really enjoyed it, and like the quotes were also really good. I want to reread it soon actually. So yeah, this is kind of different than like your usual romance, but I did really enjoy it. And yeah, I do definitely recommend it because it's very good. And I think it's one of the less popular ones from this author, but it might be my favorite, honestly. So yeah, I definitely recommend. Now we have The Unhoneymooners, which is honestly just like a fun, silly little rom-com, and it's about Olive, and she's kind of like not doing well in her life. Like nothing really goes to plan with her life right now, and she's kind of like the Grinch of romance, if you will. And now her twin sister is getting married. She has to go to a wedding, obviously, but her plan is just like, you know, get it over with and then go back to her normal life. Turns out the best man is Ethan, who is her enemy. So that kind of messes with her plan. Then at the wedding, all of the wedding guests get a food poisoning after eating, like, I don't know, some sort of seafood, but like everyone gets it besides Ethan and Olive. So her twin is trying to convince her to go on the honeymoon that she was supposed to go on, obviously with her husband, because it's been prepaid and they can't like return it. So she's making her go there with Ethan, who is her enemy, and so she's not very happy about that. But eventually she goes there. They go to Hawaii, which obviously the setting was so fun. Like I really want to go to Hawaii one day. Like it was so summery and so like vacation vibes, which was just great. But then it doesn't end there. At the, I think, resort or hotel that they were staying, she runs into her future boss, and I think she like panics, and because of that they have to pretend to be newlyweds in front of her boss, because that's what she said to him. So we have fake dating as well. And so yeah, this was honestly just very fun and quick, and I think my favorite thing was that they went to Hawaii. That was very cool. So yeah, if you wanted just a silly, goofy, fun time, you should read it. Now we have The Summer of Broken Rules, which is actually a YA romance, and so it's about Meredith, and she goes to Martha's Vineyard because her cousin is actually getting married, so she goes there for the wedding. And she's also dealing with grief at the moment because her sister passed away. So it was kind of sad at moments, but it was also very fun because the whole family plays this game of assassin where they run around the whole island with water guns and they like eliminate each other. And she actually forms an alliance with the groomsman, who is, what's his name, Whit, I think. So yeah, they form an alliance and eventually turns to something more, if you will. So yeah, it was very fun. Also had emotional moments with, you know, with the grief, but overall it's very fun. It's cute, and you know, it's YA, so everyone can read that. And yeah, I do definitely recommend. I actually liked it more than I expected. So yeah, and also the cover, gorge. So now we have Hard Bones by Colleen Hoover, and this book is so underrated. Like I never hear people talk about it, but okay, I read it a long time ago, so I don't remember exactly. But basically I think Bea is trying to build her dream life because her childhood and her past were not very easy, and she's trying to kind of get away and build the life that she wants to live, right? But but then her mother dies and she kind of has nowhere else to go, so she is forced to contact her dad, who she barely knows, but like it's actually her only options because she has nowhere else to stay. And she goes to their house, which their lives are very, very different. Like the dad has like a new family and he's like very wealthy, and actually the neighbor Samson, on paper they like have basically nothing in common, like their lives are very different, but they are drawn to each other. And yeah, eventually turns into something more. Maybe there also, I think there was like a kind of a plot twist at the end. I remember something happening, so yeah, I do want to reread it, and it's very, very summery and very underrated. Like no one talks about it, but it's genuinely so good. Like one of my favorite books ever. And the cover, lovely. So yeah, please read this because it's so underrated, but it's so freaking good. Okay, now we have The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas, and this was very popular on TikTok back in the day. And it's about Lena, and she basically lies to her family and tells them she has a boyfriend, but obviously that's a lie. The boyfriend does not exist, but I think her cousin is getting married, or there's some wedding going on in her family, and she has to go back to Spain, and everyone in their family is excited to meet the boyfriend, the non-existent boyfriend, and so she needs to find a boyfriend to like fake date her and go to Spain with her for the wedding. And one time I think she was talking to her friend about it at work, and Aaron, the grumpy guy from her work who she does not fuck with, he offers to go with her. And at first she's like, oh, I don't know, I don't really want to do that, but she's kind of desperate, right? She eventually agrees, and yeah, they go to Spain together, and like they fake date obviously in front of her full family, so that was very fun. And also the setting, the fact that it took place in Spain, I did really like it, and yeah, it's very good. Some people don't really like this book for some reason. I don't really know why. Like I've never got the hate, but yeah, it's also a slow burn and it's quite kind of long, but I do love a slow burn, so I did really enjoy it. Although the beginning was kind of slow, but then when I really started liking it is when they went to Spain. So yeah, I do definitely recommend it. It's perfect for the summer. Like yeah, obviously that's what the video is about. So okay, now we have the Part of Your World series by Abby Jimenez. Now I do recommend all of them because they're all very good and summery, but I'm gonna talk about the first one because you don't have to technically, but you should definitely read it in order. Although I think just for the summer it's my favorite, but also loved yours truly. But I'm gonna talk Part of Your World right now because it's the first one. So basically it's about Alexis, and she is this surgeon. She comes from like a family of surgeons, and she lives in a whole city and works at this hospital. And one time she is driving back home and her car breaks down like in the middle of nowhere in this small town, and she's like, fuck, what do I do now? And then Daniel, who is the guy from the small town, comes to like help her, and then they form this kind of connection. But then she also has this dilemma because on one hand she has this life in the big city with, you know, her big job and all that stuff, and on the other hand she now met Daniel and they have this romance going on in the small town, which is completely different than her usual life. So she kind of faces a conflict of what to do, obviously. And yeah, definitely also opposites attract because they are so different, but they do obviously get along very well. So yeah, she faces this dilemma, and eventually at the end she figures it out. But yeah, it was very good. I love Abby Jimenez. Like something about her books, I don't know exactly what it is, but they're just genuinely so good. Like, and they're just not just like silly little rom-coms, like they have deeper topics, which I really like. Like also in Yours Truly, I think it was the best anxiety representation I ever read, and just for the summer also had like themes of mental health and stuff. So yeah, they're not just silly goofy, they actually have a lot of depth. So I definitely recommend all of them. Now I'm gonna talk about Every Summer After, which also I think a show of this book just came out, so I'm gonna need to watch it. But basically this is like childhood friends to lovers to strangers to lovers again. They were friends in the childhood, they were hanging out in their summer houses. I think they were like neighbors or lived near each other in this like lake town, which the setting again was very good. But then they stopped talking for a reason that you'll find out later. Then one day after a couple of years she gets a call that Sam's, her old lover's mom, dies, and she has to go back to the town for the funeral. And they obviously run into each other again, and they kind of have to confront what happened in the past and address it. And yeah, because it's also then and now timeline, so we see them when they were kids hanging out in their summer houses, and now in the present when they're obviously adults and dealing with adult life problems. problems. So yeah, it says 6 summers to fall in love, 1 moment to fall apart, a weekend to get it right. So yeah, I do definitely like it. And there's also the second one in this duology, which is about Sam's brother Charlie. However, I haven't read it yet, but I will soon. So you will probably hear me talk about it in my wrap up and say if it's good or not. So yeah, but this one I do definitely recommend. It was very good. Okay, now we have Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. Now this is actually the first one in a trilogy. I don't know what this series is called, but I only read the first one because I don't know, I did like it, but my TBR is endless and I just haven't gotten to the other ones yet. But this one is about Naomi, and she is a runaway bride, and she comes into this small town to basically rescue her sister, who, let's just say, isn't famously a good person and hasn't been in the past, but Naomi is a people pleaser, so she comes to save her. She gets to the town and I think she goes to get coffee or something because she is a coffee addict just like me. So again, 2 things that I relate to: coffee addiction and people pleasing. So yeah, definitely related to Naomi. Anyway, so she goes to the coffee shop, and while she's there, her twin sister actually steals her car, her money, and leaves her with a 11-year-old niece that she didn't know existed. So now she has to deal with that, and Knox comes and helps her, and basically his plan is to just help her and then get rid of her because he doesn't want the problems, right? Although it's a romance, so that does not go according to the plan. And yeah, I love the small town vibes. I love the characters. Obviously, I related to Naomi a lot, and Knox honestly did kind of piss me off because he was acting like a man-child a bunch of times. But at the end, I was like, okay, you know what? You're fine. He's not my favorite book boyfriend ever, but like, he's alright. But Naomi, I really love Naomi. So yeah, this is also like slow burn and it's quite long. So if you like that, then you're probably gonna enjoy it. But yeah, I do definitely recommend. Also, it has daisies on the cover. How cute. Okay, guys. Wait, this is not straight. So this is not straight. Okay, guys. Sorry if the angle is slightly different, but I had to charge my camera real quick, so I took a break. So now we have Heartless by Elsie Silver, who is one of my favorite authors, and this is actually part of the series Chestnut Springs, which is one of my favorite series ever. But I'm gonna recommend this one because it's one of my favorites from that series, and it's very summery. It's basically single dad and nanny, which Kate needs a nanny, but he kind of has a hard time finding the right one. And Summer, so his brother's girlfriend, says that her best friend can become a nanny for a summer, which he wasn't so fond on that idea, but eventually he agrees and he hires Willa for the summer to be the nanny for his son. And oh my god, Willa, I fucking love Willa. Like, she's genuinely one of my favorite characters ever. Like, she is hilarious, actually hilarious. I aspire to be like Willa, honestly. Yeah, so they're very opposite. He is very grumpy, she is very sunshine, so we have grumpy sunshine, kind of opposite attract. And she is also like a city girl, and he lives on a ranch, and that's like been a big part of his life. And yeah, it also has great found family, which I obviously love, and I recommend this whole series, but Heartless specifically because it gives summer and it's very good. And as I said, I love the characters, I love the setting as well, like on the ranch, that was very good. So yeah, I definitely recommend. Okay, now actually we have a thriller, which this is my favorite thriller of all time. Actually, I'm gonna read you the back because I read it and I was like, okay, I must read it immediately, and I did. Everyone believes that Lenora Hope is a mass murderer. When the Hope family was massacred decades ago, she was the only one left alive after the tragic night. Mute, paralyzed, and confined to a wheelchair, Lenora has never been able to tell her side of the story until her new live-in caregiver kid brings her a typewriter. And with one working finger, Lenora begins to type, "I want to tell you everything." So yeah, I think that sums it up pretty well because oh my god, the plot twist in this book was absolutely insane, and I love this whole thing. Like, the setting was like in this house, it's like very old kind of house, which was kind of creepy. It was all very creepy, but like I did not have nightmares after it, so that's good. But genuinely, this is my favorite thriller ever. I gave it 5 stars, and please read this. If you enjoy a thriller, please read this one. And even if you don't, this might be like your gateway to thriller world, because I don't read that many of them, but this one genuinely jaw on the floor, so good. We have another thriller slash mystery, which is 5 Survive by Holly Jackson. Now this actually takes place, I think, in a span of like 8 hours, and this group of friends goes on a road trip in an RV, but then all of a sudden their RV breaks down in the middle of nowhere and they have like no phone connection, there's nobody near, and so they're just kind of stuck here, right? And then later they realize maybe it actually wasn't an accident, that they their RV just broke down because they find out that the tires have been shot, and there is in fact a sniper in the woods around the RV, and they are just stuck there. And yeah, along the way there's some secrets come out, and they trying to like figure out who is the target. And yeah, I think it's very fun to like read it actually in the span of 8 hours, so like you're kind of actually there with them, although you wouldn't want to be because it was, well, terrifying situation, but yeah, it was very good. I think it's YA actually as well, so yeah, I did really like it. Like Holly Jackson, I love all books by her, but this one is not my favorite because that's Good Girls Guide to Murder, but this one was also very good. So yeah, and I think it's good for the summer because, you know, trip, vacation, you know, it goes wrong, but like the idea was to go on a trip and trip, summer, vacation, you know where I'm going with it. So yeah, now we have Wildfire, which is actually the second book in the like Icebreaker series, and this is about Russ and Aurora, and basically they have one night stand, right? Then they think like they obviously will never see each other again. Actually, they both happen to be the summer camp counselors at the same summer camp, and they're both there because they're basically trying to avoid their real life and real problems, so they both go there. And yeah, it is very summery because of the summer camp setting, and it doesn't have like a crazy plot, but it's just a fun time, you know, and it is kind of spicy as well, which, you know, maybe a bit too much for me, but I did still really like it. Like, you know, there was the rule that the staff members cannot be together, but obviously they're not very good at following that rule. So yeah, it's just very fun, summery, kind of nothing crazy, but I did enjoy it. So Wildfire by Hannah Grace. Okay, now we have Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan. You might think it's just like a silly little rom-com. It's not actually. So it's about Allie, and her life is kind of a mess. She's kind of dealing with a lot right now because she just got divorced and her mom died recently, and now she has to take care of her 3 kids, and basically she decides to kind of get her life together. And the day she takes off her wedding ring, finally, she goes to the dog park, and there she meets a guy. They have this, I guess you could say, not so meet cute, because in the park her dog pees on him, so, you know, kind of an awkward situation. But then they form a connection, obviously, because it is a romance, but honestly it is so much more than that. Like, they're dealing with like real life problems, and the characters have a lot of depth, and also there's great character development, and they have this summer romance going on. And I like how he kind of helped her find her happiness and get like the spark back, and also help her with like self-discovery, because with all that stuff going on she kind of like lost herself, and helps her find herself again, which I did really like that. And yeah, the writing I think was very simple, but like I did really like it. It was very good. Also, I'm gonna read you a quote, which if you read it, you know like how significant that is. But spring is always coming, and I know for sure I will always have a dog. Yeah, I love that quote, honestly. And if you read it, it's gonna make even more sense. So yeah, definitely do recommend. Okay, now actually we have 2 more to go. So we have Just Friends by Hailey Pham, which is our fellow booktuber who I have been watching for the longest time, and I'm so happy I finally got to read her book because I've been waiting for it ever since she announced that she's writing a book. I didn't even know what it was about, but I was so excited. And so this is about Declan and Blair, and they are childhood friends, right? They were friends in their childhood, and then stuff happens and they kind of stop talking, and now 4 years later Blair goes back to the small town that she lived in when she was little to kind of support her mom and also spend time with her great aunt who is dying. So yeah, we have a bit of heavier topics as well. So she wants to spend time with them and like support them, and so she plans to stay in the town for a bit, and she applies for a job in a coffee shop. And guess who is the manager at said coffee shop? Yep, it's Declan. And so they run into each other, and they have to kind of face the past and what happened between them. And this is also now and then timeline, so we see them in the past like hanging out, which they had this so cute like puppy love, and now in the present obviously they're dealing with adult life stuff and that situation, you know, with her aunt, and also the thing that happened between them long time ago. It was very good, but it wasn't just a romance. It also had a lot of depth. You know, there were heavier topics like the grief with her aunt, and also like her relationship with her mom, and some childhood problems that she was dealing with. Yeah, so the characters definitely had a lot of depth, which I liked. And also I love the coastal town setting. Like I wish I could live in Seabrook because it was such a good setting. And also I love like the coffee shop she was working at, and yeah, it was very good. And it was also Hailey's debut, so for her debut it was actually very, very good, and I'm very excited to what else she's gonna come up with in the future. So yeah, but Just Friends, I definitely to recommend. Okay guys, so this is the last book I'm gonna talk about. We have The Rom-Commers by Catherine Center, and this is basically about Emma. She, for the longest time, has been obsessed with like rom-coms and stuff, and she wanted to become a screenwriter. However, now she needs to take care of her dad full-time because he requires help, and so she kind of had to put that dream on pause until one day she gets a chance to basically rewrite the script for this famous screenwriter, Charlie, who has been her hero and like inspiration. And so after some convincing, her sister takes over the dad duties and she will move to LA for like 6 weeks to rewrite the script. And so she goes to LA, and you know how they say don't meet your heroes? That definitely applies here, because she goes to LA and she realizes that Charlie does not want to write with anyone. And actually the script he wrote for a rom-com, it's horrible, because he's kind of like a love hater and doesn't really believe in romance. But Emma, she is not giving up without a fight, and so she makes it her mission to convince Charlie that love matters and romance is real, and she is really determined to get him to rewrite the script with her. It was a fun little rom-com, but it also had deeper topics, which I did really like. And yeah, it's good for the summer. They're also like obviously opposite attract, because he is so grumpy and a love hater, and she is just obsessed and always have been obsessed with romance and rom-coms and all that. And so yeah, I do definitely recommend. It has some deeper topics and a lot of depth as well, so yeah, it was very good. I guess that's it. So if you enjoyed this video, you can leave a like, subscribe to all of that. Hopefully you will be able to take some recommendations from this video so you can have a great summer reading time. If you have some recommendations for me, you can leave them in my comments or let me know what's on your summer TBR. And yeah, I guess I'll see you in my next video if you decide to come back. And I hope you enjoyed and had fun, because I did. And honestly, this has been my dream for the longest time, to make my YouTube channel, and I'm finally doing it, and I'm very enjoying the process. So if you want to stick around and find out where it goes, you can, you know, as I said, like, subscribe, all that. And yeah, I guess I will see you later. Thank you for hanging out. I had so much fun. I hope you did too. Yeah, I will see you. Bye!